Hello, and welcome to our first ever P1440 Sideline Chat. Sideline Chats are our quarterly series exclusive for our P1440 members to engage with and learn from top athletes and experts in the sport of beach volleyball and within the sports industry. We're keeping it in the family tonight. So tonight we have Ashley Dean. Ashley is the CEO of P1440. She joined P1440 in October of last year and is set on growing the sport through elite programming and programming that will expose more individuals to the game of beach volleyball. With that being said, would love to bring Ashley up to the screen.
All right. Good evening, everyone. It's so great to be here with you all and so excited to be launching our P1440 Sideline Chats. This is our first of a quarterly series, and we have none other than the Kerri Walsh Jennings joining us. So Kerri, please come on out and join the stage. There she is. Kerri, how are you?
I'm so good. This is so exciting, Ash.
We've been waiting for this day for a couple months now. So let's go ahead and set the stage. Where are you joining us from?
Oh, well, I'm in Miami, and it's so nice to be out here. You know, I moved to Tahoe 3 years ago, and we've had the biggest winter like in the past, I don't even know how long, many blizzards and all these things, and 15 feet of snow last week. And so to be here in the humidity and the heat with these people who love our sport, like, it's so exciting. I already got sunburned. Like, I'm such a rookie in so many ways, but I'm so excited to play starting tomorrow.
Tomorrow. So you're back on the sand, you're competing.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about, what's the schedule? What's the format?
Yeah, so this is a format I've never played before. It's called King of the Court or Queen of the Court, and it's a European promoter named Wilco, and he's been doing this for a couple of years now. And basically the format is you play in 15-minute sessions. There's 5 teams that compete for 15 minutes, and basically you can only score points when you're on the queen side of the court. So as long as you side out, you'll be accruing points. But if you don't make it over there, you make no points. So there's a lot of international teams here. There's a handful of great American teams here, and I'm just really excited.
Amazing. And so what's the goal for you going into this tournament when you're thinking strategically?
Ash, you know, I've been out for almost 2 years, like, which is shocking because it went by like this, you know. Since June of 2021, I haven't competed at all, and I took a full year off of playing. And so my goal is just to have fun and take care of the ball, and literally just to play with all of my heart. This format to me is like the perfect reintroduction to competition because there's no Olympic points on the line. You know, it's not an official tournament. It's just a really fun atmosphere that, you know, you're encouraged just to be free and to be very aggressive. And so that's the plan going into tomorrow. And the tournament is 3 days. We start playing tomorrow night at 7:15. And if you follow King of the Court on Instagram, I think they'll share links where you can tune in and watch the streaming, which will be really fun. And it goes through Sunday. So the goal is to play on Sunday, you know, because we earned it, to not get too sunburned, and to just have a great start with my partner, Zana Munoz, who is an incredible defender, UCLA national champion, not an indoor national championship, but she played indoor, stood on the beach, and now she's in the AVP kicking butt.
So how, well, first of all, you know, the P1440 family is going to be cheering you on. So excited to hear you're back on the sand, and thank you for wearing your sunblock. That's always the important piece.
Yes.
So 2 years, you were off for 2 years, you know, we went through COVID, you were, you know, up in Tahoe with your family.
Yeah.
How's the transition back to competing and being, you know, a top-notch athlete? What's that been like for you? And so not only maybe in like the day-to-day, but then also looking at, you know, 2 years, we're getting older, 2 years older. Has your training changed at all? Are you training any differently than maybe you would have been even 5 years ago?
You know, it's so interesting because what happened to my body in the time off, like, I took time off to heal. I had some major digestive and immune system issues that I had to heal, and I was helping run 1440, and, you know, my priorities shifted. But I was really excited for the time off of competing to heal my body. But what happened, Ashley, was so odd. It's like my body kind of petrified. Like, it was the oddest thing. Like, I had no use of my feet. like I would go to jog and I couldn't jog, and I go to jump, I couldn't jump. It was so weird. I think when I came down to it is I think I told my body to shush up and just deal with the pain for so long that finally, after I gave it a break, it's like, nope, you have to address me. So the comeback has been very challenging because it's literally starting at ground zero. I kept lifting and doing these things, but I didn't play nothing dynamic. And so, and I really always pride myself on being an athlete. I can catch a ball, I can run, I can jump, but all of that went away. And so I've really had to be patient with myself. And my focus has been on slowly regaining my mobility and my strength so that I could be dynamic again. Basically, I lost a lot of capacity. And so now I have to rebuild my foundation so I have my capacity grows and then I can just start piling on. But about a week ago, actually last week, I had a breakthrough. For the first time, I was able to jump like normally and move somewhat normally. And so I feel like I'm behind the ball, but my heart and my mind is so strong and so excited that I know my body's going to catch up. But training wise, I'm lifting, I'm doing Pilates, I'm on the beach 5 days a week. And once I get healthy, I'll be able to add in the agility and all of that fun dynamic stuff that really takes you to the next level.
So it almost sounds like you had to do like a reset and kind of set new milestones, right? Because your body was used to training at a certain level. And I guess for our members, we could equate this to coming off of an injury, where you get injured as a student athlete, as a high school athlete, and you have to go through that relearning process. So, who was supporting you through that journey? Are you meeting with a trainer? Is it your coach? Is it, family? Who's kind of supporting you along the way?
Well, Casey's putting up with me, my husband. Largely I was like, my team is in LA. It's in Manhattan Beach and in Orange County, and so I'm in Tahoe. So I didn't have my team. My trainers, I do Zoom workouts twice a week with my mobility specialist, and my strength coach would send me workouts. But it's so different than being with them. So largely once my body kind of shut down, I literally went internal and just started taking care of myself for the first time. Casey always encourages me. He's like, I know you love your team and your experts, but you're an expert in you. So why don't you sit with yourself, and work through this? And that was a really powerful encouragement for me. And so I did that largely. And I feel like I got myself to the point where I started to travel to LA to train, and then I was able to engage with my team. So it's been such a wild journey, but now I lean on my team 100%, and I'm a yapper. So I'm always communicating. I'm always telling them what I'm feeling. And we start with, okay, what are your goals? I want to jump higher. I want to move faster. I never want to get tired. And they say, okay, well, we know we want to work toward that, but we're here. So let's let's be reasonable, and let's listen to your body for the first time in your whole career. And let's really build that strong foundation. I was telling somebody, I'm like, dealing with I dislocated my shoulder many times, 6 shoulder surgeries, and I'm like, dealing with something like that is almost easier than dealing with chronic stuff, because you're so focused on healing this body part and the supporting body. But when you have something that's chronic, it seeps into your psyche, it seeps into your energy levels, and you question everything you're doing, and so my heart goes out to anyone dealing with chronic anything. But it's really your system telling you need some support, and you need to stop and think and kind of integrate your whole body together. So, but my team is wonderful. And I lean on them a lot, and then the sleep and the nutrition and all of the kind of outside softer things have really helped me to turn the corner, which I prioritize every day.
Yeah, I'm so glad you say that, because I know, when we think about you and authentic you, it's a very holistic approach, right, to anything you're doing and how you're spending your time, right? And that's where we got our 1440 from. So what's that process like? Because for some people that maybe is very natural to adopt new philosophies and kind of put it into a training environment. And so again, thinking about high school club athletes who are already really, really tight on time with studying, but they want to kind of elevate their game. And in some cases, elevating your game is maybe even doing less of the training on the court and more spending time and dedicating time to other parts of, becoming the best version of themselves. So first of all, any advice to the group? And then also if you could talk about, what that process looks like. Do you journal? Do you write things down? Is it, that goal setting? Is it putting it in a journal? Where do you have those reminders? Maybe it's a notification on your phone.
Yeah.
But we'd love to learn a little bit about that.
All of the above, like I'm surrounded by things that remind me of who I want to be and how I want to feel. I've said this a billion times, but I only wear gold, because that's a reminder of what I'm striving for in life, not just in the volleyball court, but, everywhere. And so I certainly journal. I talk to myself a lot and I challenge myself a lot. Because I just want to keep growing, but for me, some of the go-to stuff kind of psychologically and again, on the softer side is I start my mornings breathing, kind of getting in touch with myself. I don't want to wake up and just go. I did that for many, many years. And it just, you're always catching up, even just energetically, you feel like you're always frantic. And so I made a decision 10 years ago now to wake up with enough time that I could have me time in the morning. Even if it's 10 minutes, it's a beautiful time where I get in touch with myself and the day starts off on the right foot. In those moments, I journal, I breathe, I meditate. Again, just get connected to how I want to live my day. I think about before I start my day, what do I want to do in this day? More importantly, how do I want to feel as I go through my days? And then, I just feel like for all of us high performers, doesn't matter what age you are, junior, high school, college, what we do off the court is so important because that's the vast majority of our life, and we all want to be excellent, not just today, but excellent for a long time. And so these practices that allow, our nervous systems to settle down, whether it's taking a nap, whether it's fueling ourselves with clean food or leaning on a friend or going for a walk or being in nature, like all of these things sound so frou-frou and so soft, but they will allow the killer in you to come out more often because your soul and your body is going to be nourished. For many, many years, I ran through every wall that was in front of me. I literally just ran through walls and it felt good and it made me feel proud, but I've learned so much. And this next generation knows so much better than I ever knew, that my hope for all the 1440 community, whether you're, again, a youth athlete or a parent or whatever, a coach, is to take the data that's out there and to live by it. Sleep, if you focus on your sleep, it'll change your whole life. It'll change your performance, in school, on the court, all these things. Same thing with nutrition. If you're if you're anxious all the time and you're not performing to your best because it's getting the best of you, your anxiety, focus on what you're eating, focus on your sleep, focus on your breath. These things are really powerful tools that are free, that are in our own hands, that I really prioritize.
Yeah. It's amazing. That's great advice. And I have a feeling our members are jotting some of these notes down for sure.
Oh, well.
So how about switching gears a little bit? So let's talk a little bit about obstacles, because, obstacles are something I think that's always, one of these phrases that comes up or a word that comes up that really, the things you learn as an athlete on the court really can translate into such great opportunities to make great decisions and kind of persevere off the court, right? And a lot of that comes through obstacles. So when you're thinking about obstacles related to your experience as an athlete, can you talk about, and this could be anywhere along your career. So can you talk about a time where really you had an obstacle off the court and you realized you were able to actually address it because of the obstacles you had faced on the court?
Yeah. Certainly there's been so many, it's hard to pick one, but, as a student athlete, I prioritized being an athlete when I was at Stanford, and I think I was so intimidated by the academics there. And I just told myself I was a jock and just get by in school and you'll be fine. But at some point, I was meek and I kind of cowered away from the challenge. When usually I step up to challenges and I love them. But at Stanford, for whatever reason, it wasn't necessary because there's so much support there. But for whatever reason, I wouldn't ask for help. And it took me my senior year, so 3.5 years of going to Stanford. And finally I was like, what are you doing? There's a support system. That if you raise your hand, someone's going to come and support you and guide you. And it doesn't mean that you're weak. And so learning that lesson my senior year at Stanford to like, I have a coach for everything, Ashley, like everything, nutrition, strength training, volleyball. Like, why wouldn't I get coached in this area that I need help with? But I was so afraid of being weak and looking stupid. And so when I finally put my ego aside, and I learned that in sports, but when I put my ego aside and I said, hey, I need help, and I stood up to the challenge and I had the hard conversation, that really helped change everything for me, change my perspective. It like people came in droves and, were there to help me. And that was really helpful. But what I learned in sport is that having tough conversations is essential. Like if you're having a tough time with your partner, or if you're not on the same page with your coach, like you need to take accountability and step up, because they can't read your mind. They don't know, that you're feeling these things. And so it's kind of your duty and your privilege as a teammate to go and address these things. And so I brought that learning to my grades, and that was very helpful.
I love it. And you're
Hey,
still utilizing. Yeah.
Sorry. Zana told me where the charger is.
Oh, okay.
Can I go get it?
All right. Absolutely.
Okay. You keep talking.
We're going to take a brief pause, audience. We're going to make sure we have enough juice to get through the remainder of the hour. So
Okay.
All right, we're back. All right. See, great partners come in handy even off the court.
God, they really do. Thanks.
Yeah, and actually that's a great segue, because the next question I thought we could talk through was a little bit of, how do you build? I come from the indoor side, so there's multiple team members and, there's a big group and camaraderie there. What's it like when you are being paired up with a new partner and teammate for the first time? And is it, regardless of who the person is, do you go through kind of the same process of, it's kind of like an onboarding, right, of a new partner? What's that like?
Man, it's so fun. It's like, it's the most fun part for me is the partnership and the team building. I love it with all my heart. And it's just helped me grow so much. And so like Zon and I, we've had, I think before we got to Miami together, I think we had 3 or 4 practices together, and so it's like, we're just being thrown into the fire together. And that's one way to do it. But generally, it's just, we're 2 humans who have goals, and we share similar goals, And so, but generally in the beach volleyball world, it's such a small world. So, who's in your orbit, and you kind of have your eye, or something calls you to somebody. And then you make the connection and you get on the sand and you fill it out. And then once you once you realize that there's magic or not, you pursue that, or you don't. And then the team building and the trust and the partnership relationship starts to develop. Like today with Zana, she's such a great girl. And like we had lunch today and we just did girl talk. It's not always business. And to me, it's like, I really love people in general, but I love to know what's behind them and their families and what drives them. And you learn that stuff when they're talking about, their families and their hobbies and stuff. So it's just a really organic process as far as I'm concerned. And a lot of people just can keep a business. This is my partner. I don't really mind what they do off the court. I don't really care all the time. But for me, it's like the opposite. And, I ask a lot of questions, and I just like to feel them out.
Yeah. And I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head when you were talking about just being able to have strong communication skills, right? Because there's undoubtedly tense moments when you're playing, and especially when the higher level you're playing, or in those critical moments on the court, being able to have those skills that can translate into, working through any conflict with your partner, which also is the same skill set that you can take back to, how you're talking with a sibling and working through any conflict off the court.
100%. And also it's so interesting because our sport these days, to me, why beach volleyball is so special, I think we're the raddest team sport there is, right? Because there's just 2 of you. So you have to be like this. Like, to do anything great consistently, you guys have to be like this. Like, truly, not even like this. Like, you have to be like together. But also, obviously, the individual is so important, And so it's kind of an individual team sport. But what I'm seeing these days is that there's so much partner hopping, and there's so much there's not a lot of team building. And that like makes me sad because again, that's like the most joyous part as far as I'm concerned. And anyone who's done anything in this sport has like gone through like trials and tribulations with partners, because that conflict and the losing together and winning together creates intimacy and depth in a relationship, you know? And so the juniors world is so wild to me because these girls are, I mean, everyone is so hungry. Everyone is so good and so well trained. And I just can't wait for everyone to take a deep breath and to be like, okay, that girl is awesome. Energetically, we fit. We're going to commit and see how far we can go, you know, but I don't know if the system is set up that way. But my encouragement to the young girls would be like, if you love someone and you feel magic, develop it, you know, and not that you have to do every tournament together, all this stuff, but like keep that in mind, because it's a beautiful relationship to form, and your skills are going to develop no matter who you play with, if that's your intention, you know. But again, that relationship, it requires more of you, you know, to go through stuff with another person. And I just think it's a really good opportunity for people to grow in partnership.
Yeah. What kind of, you know, a great way to grow too as a pair, right? And as partners is also to really build strategy too, I imagine, and a winning strategy, right? So what kind of, well, first of all, what kind of, is there scouting that you do at your level, and what does that look like? And then, you know, what, any advice at the junior level on how you and either you yourself or you and your partner can really start to develop the understanding of the strategy of the game?
Yeah, you know, I mean, fundamentally, Ashley, like I am not a chess player. I'm not a checkers player. Like I kind of deal with what's right in front of me, but I value film very much. I get a lot of peace of mind and understanding when I watch film of myself and my team. You know, because to me, it's like 90% about us. I don't care who's on the other side of the court. I want to know their tendencies. That's kind of all I want to know. Like the more in depth the like shot chart is or these things, like I get confused. I really want to be instinctive on the court, you know? So, but film is a beautiful tool. If you're trying to refine a technique or even work on your timing with your partner, watching film on windy days, on weird days, like it just helps you to realize, you know, your tendencies when things are weird, you know? And then strategically, I think it takes a while, again, as you become a team, it takes a while to understand your strengths, you know, and once you understand your strengths, then strategically you can kind of put the other team in a position to play into your strengths, you know. And so that's kind of the fun game within the game type of thing that I really love. But I would just like, even to be a great partner, I would focus on myself to bring the best of myself to my team, you know. And then when I'm strategizing against another team, I would put our best game plan together and make them deal with us rather than worry so much about them. You know, when I watch too much film on my opponents, or when I just kind of pick them apart to try to learn them, it gets in my head, you know, and I respect everyone so much and they seem so rad. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, this seems like a losing battle. But when I focus on us, like it makes me empowered. And, you know, we're more responsive and less reactive, I guess.
Yeah, that's a great perspective. Well, I know we're doing great on time, but I do know we have some questions from the audience. So we should see a couple come up on the screen here. All right, first one, you talk a lot about holistic development. Is there an area of self-care you struggle with? Great question.
Gosh, that is a good question. All of it's a work in progress. You know, everything that I speak about it constantly because I'm always working on it. You know, I have none of this dialed in. Like, let's just get that clear. You know, I want to, but I don't. Life is very full. It's very fast and very human. And I'm not perfect. But yeah, okay. So yesterday I was on this conference call and I said something dumb. Like, I was like, why, Kerri, why? And it stayed with me for hours. And I kept replaying it. You know, it's kind of like if you biff a left play or whatever, like I could not get it out of my head. And finally, I was like, Kerri, what would you say to Scout if she said something stupid in a group environment? And I told myself the same words. Kerri, you're fine. Like, you know, like you learn from it. Like, they don't even care. Like, you know, you're sharing your thoughts. Like, you know, no harm, no foul. But so I'm really, my self-talk gets really critical a lot over silly things. you know? And so that's
Sure.
something that is forever a work in progress. And if you're on this video, I'm sure you've heard me talk before, but Mike Gervais, who's my performance psychologist, he's just such an advocate for positive self-talk, because that's where your confidence comes from. If you're constantly like belittling yourself or degrading yourself or just not expecting perfection, and when you're not perfect, you know, just coming down to yourself, like you're going to suffocate yourself and you're going to diminish. And so self-confidence comes from the way you talk to yourself. And so I'm really working on being my friend, even when I mess up.
Yeah. Do you have little Post-its anywhere? Like I mean, I sit at a computer a lot, right? And I'm a desk, and I'll throw some Post-its, and even working with, I work with a leadership coach, right? And so we have strategies, and it's so important. I mean, it plays over into everything you do,
100%.
and even how you parent.
Oh, well, it's all the same. I mean, business, sport, parenting, like it is all, it's all very similar, you know? I don't have a lot of Post-its, but I have quotes everywhere. I have a zillion books of quotes that I've collected since I was 10 years old. And I revisit them a lot, and I read a lot. And so I'm just surrounded by things that make me happy, that inspire me, and that remind me that, you know, this game, that stupid thing you said, you know, a tough day is not the end all be all. Learn from it, grow from it. Thank you for the opportunity. You know?
Yeah, that's great. I love that messaging.
Easier said than done,
okay, great.
but it's real.
Easier said than done. Yeah. Easier said. And, you know, having people to hold you accountable, right? So, I mean, that's whether it's a partner, a parent, you know, having that support and someone to hold you accountable.
I need that. I need that so much. You know, I trust that everyone's going to tell me when I'm not doing well. But what I'm coming to learn is that people see me differently than I see myself, you know, and I think they don't want to, maybe they're just too kind and they don't, but I want to grow. I want to be coached. Like I need the whip cracked on me, you know? Otherwise I'm just like hammering myself, and that's not fun. And I'm just working on things that I think I need. So yeah, I think my support system does hold me accountable. And I encourage them to do it more often, because I know they're really nice to me and they say I'm really busy and let me off the hook a lot, but I need that. And it makes me stronger, you know?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Okay. And I want to remind, before we go to the next question, I want to remind our YouTube viewers that if you do have a question for Kerri, drop it in. We can drop it in the live chat. We'll make sure it gets up here. So, all right. Next question is, what are the top 3 priorities in your life right now? And how do you make sure they stay priorities?
Gosh, these are such good questions. I mean, my life priorities haven't really changed that much. The expression of them have, if that makes sense. So my priorities are, I guess I have to start with my personal well-being, because if I want to serve my people, the world, like I need to be sound, right? So I'm constantly working on my nervous system. I'm constantly working on my healing, on my growth. And that's a very big thing for me. Obviously my family, they're just everything to me, and I'm gone a lot. I'm traveling a lot. And so I'm really being very mindful of staying connected to my family while I'm on the road, and making sure I can still be a mommy and I'm still there for my babes, and a wife to my husband while I'm away. So myself, my family, and then my dreams, I'm just going to put that in a big bucket, you know, and my dreams right now, I got a lot of them, but one is just to be excellent. I want to live in greatness on the court. I really do. Like, I don't want to be average. I don't want to be less than I was. I want to be more and better and amazing. My dreams for 1440 are huge. You know, I love our company so much, and we are, I mean, with you at the helm, like there is just no limits on what we're doing, and our community is so deserving. That's a huge priority for me to keep growing this company and serving the community, serving the professional beach volleyball world. You know, our sport is in trouble at the top. Nowhere else is in trouble, but at the top it's in trouble. And so I want to help, you know, ease that pain point, because it's real. And all these athletes who are playing juniors volleyball and going into club beach volleyball, I want to give them a home where they can make millions of dollars. And right now, if you play professional beach volleyball, the moment you retire, you'll be richer because it's just such an expensive proposition, you know? And I don't want to deter anyone from going for it, because it's so worth it. The lifestyle is priceless. However, things need to be fixed, and we're going to do it, Ash.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We are going to do it. We are going to do it. Yeah. I mean, that's interesting. You bring up talking about just the greater ecosystem, right? The beach volleyball ecosystem. So You played collegiately indoor, won how many national championships while you're at Stanford?
Oh my gosh, I almost said twice.
Twice. Okay.
Should have been
Awesome.
3, but we got our
If
butt
it
kicked.
should have been 3, it should have. It
No,
should
we
have.
did not deserve
So,
it.
in that, if we were to go back X amount of years, right, and you're a collegiate athlete and beach volleyball was around, I
Yeah.
mean, would your path have changed earlier? What was that transition like? Was it easy? Was it clear?
Yeah,
Talk about that.
I don't know if I was tough enough to play beach volleyball in college, to be honest with you. Just kind of the fact that you're so exposed. I really, really loved being on a big team for a lot of years. And I loved standing out in a big team. Like my teams always made me so strong and feel so comfortable and fearless, and I feel like going through what I did at Stanford, winning, losing, being put in a position to lead, being put in a position to learn from some of the greats in the game, like it really set me up to be very sound when I did transition to beach. I knew who I was. I was confident that if I put in the work, I could become great. And I did. So, but when I left Stanford, I played in the Olympics in 2000 in indoor, and it became clear I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go live in Europe. I didn't want to be away from my family for 9 months a year. And I had no idea what was going to come of my career because I wanted to keep playing. I was like, maybe I'll go to Puerto Rico. It's a short season. I don't know. But I had an opportunity to try out with Misty, and my whole life, I've said this 100 times, my whole life I avoided playing beach volleyball because my ego wouldn't let me go try, because I'm like Bambi, my legs are so long and I'm awkward. And I was like, I just couldn't do it, And so my first time getting on the beach, like truly, was when I was like 2 weeks before I went down to meet Misty, one of the best players in the world, best player ever in our game. And I had 2 weeks to prep for that. And I was so green and so raw, Ash. But I was like, geez, like this is such a beautiful opportunity. My dad bought me 10 Mikasa balls and he's like, go, good luck. And I was still going to school at Stanford at the time. And I drove down, had a tryout with Misty, literally almost had a heart attack, like anxiety panic attack. So nervous, but it was such a great 2-hour session. And I just went for it, and that was almost the easiest day. And then the subsequent 8 months, I cried every day. Because, and not because I didn't like it, but because it was so humbling. It was so humbling to me, and it's like I was playing again with best player in the world. And I just felt a lot of pressure, and I didn't have time to whine or develop. I was just in it with the Lions. And I think that served me really well. It serves my personality too. Cause it's I don't want to think about things. I just want to go do. And it really sharpened me really fast, but it was very humbling. And at some point I remember telling my mom, I was like, Mom, I don't know if I can handle this. I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if my soul can handle it. And she goes, no problem, babe. As long as you tried your best. And she's like, okay, well, come home and let's get you a 9-to-5 job. And I was like, nope, no, I'm not doing that. I will put on my big girl pants and I'll suck this up. So it was helpful.
I love it. That's you brought me a good laugh. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Well,
my mom's
I know. Yeah. So cool. We'll take another question. Okay. What is your favorite part about being an Olympian? Do you have a favorite memory?
Oh man. Well, the journey to becoming an Olympian is my favorite part, because you grow so much and you develop my relationship with Misty, with April, with Brooke, even though we didn't make it. It's so rewarding. I can't even begin to tell you. And then my trainers, you do it with this army behind you. And it's so rewarding and fulfilling because you're doing it together, and it's beautiful. Yeah. My favorite memory, opening ceremonies is always just incredible. It's just so wild and so inspiring to walk in with all of your countrymen, who are all the best in the world. Everyone is so proud to be there representing everyone at home and everybody. That's a really special moment. But after Misty and I won in London, it was our third Olympics together, and Misty was retiring, and I couldn't stop crying. It was just my girl's done. I was devastated, but so happy at the same time. But I remember I went over to say hi to my husband, and he had my 2 boys, and he handed the boys down to me when I was on the sand. And it was just such a beautiful moment. And that's my favorite Olympics of all, because we did it as a family. It was the first time I did it as a mother. Casey and I really had to dig deep. We traveled the world with the boys. They had their passports when they were so young, and they traveled the world for 2 years trying to qualify. My sister was their nanny. And so to have that moment together, it was just so special. And side note, fast forward, I having a tough time visualizing my dream for Paris. But the one thing that keeps coming back to me is myself and my family and all the supporting crew on the sand in Paris, like pogoing because we won and we did it together. So like I have this vision of like me bringing
Heard it here first.
Yes,
Heard it here
that's
first.
the vision, kids. And it just feels
Love
so
it.
real. And I think it's so wonderful to have visions like that,
How do you, you have that vision, but then there's a long road, right? So is that vision with you every day and you just have your milestones along the way? Or do you like you never lose sight of the vision. The vision's always there, but is it top of mind every day when you have years of preparation?
The vision, like you said, is always there. And the vision sustains me. It's just in me. I don't need to mention Paris ever again. It's there. Or I don't need to mention that I want to be great ever again. It's just in me, But what I'm after is really a feeling. It's not even end result anymore. Of course I want to win. Like that goes without saying, but I'm really after a feeling of self-mastery, of like mastery within my team. And just a feeling of carefreeness. Like I really want to finish as I started. And when I started playing volleyball, Ashley, I loved it so much. I couldn't get enough of it. I felt so free and so fearless. And I just love learning. And I want to finish that way, and you're not going to finish that way if you're focused on the end result. And if you're like taking score after every tournament, what are my stats and what are these things? Like those things are important because you need to know where you need to work on, but those things stifle me. And if I'm worried about my hitting percentage or what I can't do it. And so I'm really chasing this feeling. And I talk about the feeling a lot, like everything in my life. I want to be autonomous. I want to feel free. And I really want to be playfully excellent. And so that's kind of what I'm going for within myself and within my partnerships. And, it's awesome.
Amazing. Yeah. I love that. Playfully excellent. That's
and joyfully dominant. That's what I want.
Joyfully I'm writing those down actually. Playfully excellent and joyfully dominant. That's awesome.
It's like a good
okay, I think we have time for one more question. So we'll take that one.
It's so nice people showed up.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. What is the most exciting changes you're seeing in beach volleyball?
I mean, it is gnarly how good the juniors are, how good the college girls are. The level it's so incredible. It's so physical and they're just so well trained, so their touch on the ball is beautiful. The hand setting, I've never seen anything more beautiful. It's really, really special to see the development of the athletes within the game. Again, that's why it makes it so important for them to have a home once they're done being a junior and collegiate athlete. Like it's just so top of mind every day, that even more than my vision of winning gold, like that is because I see it every day, and people reach out every day and it's just like, okay, this is like part of my duty and my honor to serve the game, so I think just the development of the athletes and the depth of the field across the board is very, very special,
And for those, specialization comes up a lot, right? Especially middle school level, high school level. Any strong thoughts there that you'd want to share with this group? Especially, the one other thing is volleyball is interesting because you really have two sports that could support each other and really make it, more than year round in a lot of ways. So any thoughts you'd want to share?
I'm a very, very big proponent and advocate for playing multiple sports. And, I know beach and indoor are vastly different. I think I know without a doubt that they support each other. I think there's a big argument out there that if you play beach, it's going to hurt your indoor and vice versa. I don't subscribe to that. I think you get touches on the ball. I think you learn so much more than it's going to hurt you. And if your timing is off for a week as you transition, you're going to be fine. That being said, I would be hesitant to have my children play both indoor club and beach club because that means it's all year round. I played two sports in high school. I didn't love basketball, but I played it because it made me mean and it made me stronger. And it gave me a break. Like I needed a built-in break. Otherwise I would have played volleyball year round, and you want to be hungry for your sport. And if you're playing year round, then psychologically you're less hungry. Maybe you're just too focused on getting the scholarship or your results and you're fixated on that. But it kind of becomes more of a job like that. And for me, I I've studied this so much. I've talked to so many great coaches, top professional athletes. The coaches recruit great athletes, they really do.
Yeah.
And the multi-sport athletes are generally healthier and stronger and more rangy psychologically, mentally, emotionally, and physically. So not that you're a bad person if you're playing only volleyball, beach volleyball, and indoor. Sure. Absolutely not. But I just think if you're going to play one sport all year round, you have to give yourself a dedicated break. And you really need to prioritize your recovery, because overuse injuries are so real. Burnout is so real, and it doesn't need to happen. So if you train for the big picture, not the short term, that's going to really support your long-term quest, which is what I hope for everyone on this chat. Whether I don't care if you're a junior or if you're an adult, like I want you to play till you're 99, and you're not going to do that if you don't take care of your body, if you don't focus on recovery, and if you don't give yourself some meaningful breaks. Before the London Olympics, I had a meeting with my psychologist. And I'm like, I need more. Give me more. What do I want to do? I want to be the best. And he's like, Kerri, literally your homework is to do nothing, to do no more. And I was like, what? Yeah. Like I was devastated. And he's like, no, you got to stop. You got to breathe, go be with your family, like be a human, and that's going to serve you so powerfully. And it really did.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very powerful message there. Very powerful. I will say, the more I've, got an opportunity to go out to a couple of events and meet some of our members and competitors, and I've actually heard a lot of them are, competing in track and field in high school, or they're doing other stuff. And I'm so glad that that's still an option, because a lot of times, coming from coaches don't, as much as the parents and players would want to have multiple things going on, sometimes the coaches aren't allowing that. So I know that for us at P1440 is very important when we hear, we want to encourage that and obviously support that. It gets hard because I know it comes down to, having to make choices with conflicts and competition, but glad we are really, as an organization, really still very, we're so happy to hear that that's still an opportunity for a lot of these high school athletes.
And I think it's really important for the athletes themselves and for the parents to be encouraged to be an advocate for their child or for yourself. That's very, very challenging for a 15-year-old to be like, hey, volleyball coach, I want to play basketball. I want to play soccer. Like, it's really, really hard. But to me, it's like, if it's in your heart and you want to do it, like, do it as long as you don't make anyone else stop you your dreams. Be very candid. Be like, look, I will commit, get everything out on the table and try to create a solution. But don't just assume that it's a no, I guess is my point. Fight for what you want, because generally people are going to be willing to listen to you. And if they're not, then, maybe it's not the right place for you, or maybe it'll help you make your decision, and you'll be okay with it. You're going to know in the moment, but I would say never assume.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we are coming down to our last few minutes, so we're going to do some rapid fire questions.
Oh gosh.
Yep. Rapid fire. So favorite beach you've played?
Any Olympic venue in Manhattan Beach, California.
There we go. Love it. First thing you do when you wake up?
Smile.
Favorite drill?
Oh gosh, I really like working on my side out. So any side out drill.
What is something you could eat for a week straight?
Steak.
Oh gosh,
I can't get enough.
What's on your pump up playlist?
I'm not listening to a lot of music right now, which is so boring. If anything, I listen to a lot of Sade, which is not pump up, but it calms me down so I can play well. But I'm listening to a lot of books on tape, audiobooks. And so right now I have the real one, The Game of Life. Ooh. And I'm also listening to it on YouTube. So sorry, boring, but that's where
I don't know that one. And Sade, you said?
Yeah.
Well,
the kids will be like, who's that? My daughter made me a playlist, so I should go to her playlist. But
there you go.
I need to do better on music right now.
Well, I can't tell you how special it's been to have you on with us today, Kerri, especially going into this weekend, and we're going to be rooting you on. Thank you to all our members who are joining us this evening. Again, we're going to be doing these every quarter. So our next one is scheduled for June 15th. It's a Thursday. It'll be at the same time. We're actually going to have a panel of speakers who are talking about building your personal brand as an athlete. And then we're going to bring in a subject matter expert around NIL. So should be exciting. And again, have a great night, everyone. Wonderful to be here with you all, and hope to see you out on the court soon.
Thank you, everybody. Great job, Ash.
Bye.